points, like you're better off just fucking taking it down just because it's running into resistance. Hot damn, Samka, what's up? Hey, you changed your avatar. Who's the hot dude in it? Oh, that's you. Good. All right, man. Let's go into this. Let's see what kind of earnings plays we got out there, and then we'll fuck around after. I don't know if you can really fuck around with this thing. It's already up to 200%. Let's be let's be cognizant that thing's probably going to be a tear. You almost better off trying something like this. At least they got lithium battery, secure, UL 1973, safety complaints. That also means nothing. Pass. Asher, junk. SU Suncor Energy. Today's not their earnings today, so I'm not sure what's going on it. Elliott Investment Management calls for board enhancement along with strategic review. That's really nothing. Morning, folks. Hey, man, what's up? Junk. Hey, so this Eli Lilly has earnings out. Last time it actually had them. If we go back, last couple of times, like it's had news out, it's actually worked pretty good. Like it's actually followed through. Obviously, the market conditions are a little bit different. If you see here, like this was the last earnings, and it gapped up that day, and then I ended up closing at 275, so it actually had a really good range. Granted, the market conditions were slightly better. We were still in the bear market, but not right the teeth of it like we are now. I'd actually add this for now. I think that's probably going to give you some good range. Oh, there's junk. This UMC, this is junk. Junk. Let's see what else has got earnings. Oh, what's the date today? Today is Thursday. Cool. So I think a couple things we need to keep an eye on. Obviously, you have Qualcomm out here, right? You have Qualcomm out here. They had their earnings out. You got a couple. You got a couple adjustments on. You do got a couple adjustments on, the price targets, but that's to be. That doesn't really mean anything for the most part, because like a lot of these companies, like their price targets are like $200 higher. I think this will probably be in play. We'll have to be careful just because a lot of the gaps have been fading on certain stocks, but like on certain other ones, they haven't been, like Microsoft followed, right? Like Microsoft actually followed through yesterday. It actually had pretty good range on it. It's 10 points, which is like, that's really unheard of for this thing. I think so, that's going to give it a little bit of boost to some of the things. So we got Facebook earnings. Yeah. Like we can't really chase this thing. If anything, it's probably at some point, if it like squeezes back into this, like, it's probably be better off as a short for a day trade than try to chase that thing up. It's just too thick to chase up like 40 points. Pins is like another one over here. Like, and a lot of these things, what happens is like sometimes if you get like really beat down stocks, and you have like a big earnings beat, like, there's a chance they can follow through in different market conditions. Like that would be something that'd be like a big beast. That'd be, top of the list at that point. Obviously right now we don't know if these gaps fade or not, but I would add in Facebook, Pins, Lilly, Peacock, nah. See this Qualcomm, I think this is something we want to play too. Snappy Chat, Insiders, Web Push, blah, blah, junk, Labu, junk. Okay, so you're getting all these gaps in like tech stock. So I think, one of the keys today is going to be, so we've already got like a 1.63% gap in the Qs. That's really hard to chase. We'll have to see what the first pullback looks like. We still have room before we run into like kind of our next levels of resistance. Let me just undraw all these fucking lines. We still have a little bit of room before the next level of resistance. The other thing to be mindful of is like we are kind of holding down into the support zone over here, right? We've tested it a couple times. Frankly, if we come back and test it again, we'll probably break down. But so far, we're still holding. When you're oversold, like we're at 13 stochastics and we're sitting on a support, then that usually will give us like a little bit of, it'll give us a little bit of a bounce setup here. The gap is just what kind of makes it real tricky today. It's impossible to trade a 1.5% gap in the market. We'll have to wait for the first pullback. Like these will probably pull back at the open, and then the market will probably decide what it wants to do based on, right, some of these like kind of big cap names, like if they end up holding. I think the setup is like, like if you're really trying to long something, the setup for today is like yesterday it looked like right, Microsoft was going to roll right over, and it's just kind of grinding down. You end up getting right a hammer candle on your 20 EMA, and then it ends up like ramping up. If you're going to do a pullback trade in this type of market, like if you're trying to draw them, then what you really need to do is, Ryan, did you watch those classes I sent you? You asked the same questions last week. I sent you like 10 videos on that stuff, buddy. Pull back. That's going to be our play today. So let's see what these things. Let's see if these earnings hold. Let's see on the downside if anything just bombed. TDOC shit. We can't really do much for this, but that's really amazing that this thing is. Look, this is what bear markets do, right? $300. It's at $30. It's already been cut in half. Now, I mean, is there really anything to do on this? Probably not. Flowers.com. Hey, this is an earnings play and it's a breakdown. I don't know if there's going to be any liquidity on this, but you know it. Hold on, let me share the scan with you. Yeah, I don't know. Fuck. Good one, Danny. Now I lost it. Just kidding. Oh, Kathy Johnson's probably knee deep in the deep on all these. ALGN. Hey, this may have some range in it. I don't know if it's going to have any liquidity on it today, but I would actually add that for later. Like, let's see if the liquidity comes in on this. This is a big breakdown. You're going to have good range on this. So that's a $25 ATR. But you can see like a longer term rollover pattern. You can't chase it down 21%. Obviously, the SSR will be on it, and it's illiquid. But if this thing starts to squeeze up, like we'll see this a lot, where like they'll start to squeeze up, and then they just roll like right the fuck over. Kind of like the setup you'd want to do is the setup you want to do with like some of these like thinner names, like the ones that have a little bit less liquidity, right? Like see spot yesterday, how it just gaps down. This is more of a matter of focus than anything, right? Because it's like a very easy setup. It's more of like if you're actually staring at it, or you're just staring in the weeds, wondering about God knows what, right? But you get this gap down, and then you get this like real fast squeeze, but it's like 10 points, right, into one of your EMAs, and then you roll it over. That's the setup you want to do with something like an ALGN that's like a little bit thinner. Spot trade's thin too. Like it'll have range, but it's just not going to have, like, right, a ton of liquidity. This is actually probably a day two short. If it breaks down under, I don't know, I would go with 95-ish. If it breaks down under there, I think you go in, take it down for a day two play. If we need some shorts, I like it too. BTU had earnings out. This kind of reminds me of, right, Alcoa. Like Alcoa was up high flying, right? And then like, when the earnings came out, like it actually followed through for a couple days, just because it had been up so much, right, for like so long that, you go from $6 to $100. Like, yeah, like you miss on your earnings, or they don't come out right, you're going to get shemangled. BTU was like $1 or $2 just a little bit ago, 95 fucking cents. So you run the $34, like they miss on earnings today. Like I think that's going to do something similar to like probably, you know, an AA. What you don't want to do is chase it up at like down 15%. Let it squeeze up, or ORB will have something on that. Double check, make sure you have borrows. Some brokers might have borrows on it, some brokers won't. Chunk, 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 chunk. Hey, so like you can see, this natural gas has been trending a little bit. It may need a day breather, but you are starting to pick up some steam on this. So keep an eye on some of your natty gas plays too. OSTK, I have trouble reading on this one. It did have its earnings out. I saw that. Which way it goes is really, it's a little bit tricky, but it is having a little bit of a reversal so far. I've actually had success trading this before. Like it's actually got a good mover on it. I definitely keep it up. Oh, Ryan, you did. I posted it like multiple times in the thing. I'm a helpful man, as you know. Yeah, watch those videos, Ryan. They're going to give you everything you need. Then you can come back and I sent you my email too. Just ask me any questions you have. I got you, buddy. Man. The data fed, my TC1000 looks fine. You may have to change it from like pre-market to pre and post, and then put it back to pre-market, and it'll be good. Good. All right, let's go back in this. We got book face, pins, Qualcomm, Eli Lilly, Spot, BTU, ALGN as your earnings plays. On our non-earnings plays, there was some relative strength into the close, and some of these China names. We could do this like PDD had. Man, it came really hot out of the gate. Like you need the market to go with this because these are considered risky assets. So like in general, right, you need a push in the markets, but you got 35 to 30. Like when it goes fast, which is, ideally what you want. So I think we had a couple of these Chinas, PDD and Bob are the easiest. PDD seems to move the best out of the group. Like when it goes, it just shoots out of nowhere, where Bob is a much thicker stock. And so like it tends to kind of grind a little bit more. But let's add PDD. Baba, I think we could probably do SE. I would do anything for love. Yeah, this is all junk. Okay. Hey, with some of this stuff going, like we still have 50 SMA holds on Moss. Oxy, let's see if they pick up any steam. Oxy had an inside day yesterday after kind of like a little bit of a bounce off the 50. You had kind of two inside days. Keep it zone around like 56, 50, 57. And then I think that'll be the hot spot. Hey, Nathan, there's no such thing, like there's no room that's going to like help you make income. You still got to spend probably some time learning. I mean, it's really like a year process. You got to spend a couple months learning, probably a couple months simulating, couple months trading really small. And then, if you're doing better, then increasing your size slowly. That's your best way of keeping in the game long term. Like jumping in like some random guy's room, especially if you find these fuckers on Twitter and stuff, like none of them are really trading. Like you would be, if like the penny stock guys are usually pumpers, and most of these guys, if they have like free Discord rooms and stuff like that, those guys really aren't trading. Yeah, but that was before, when I was a young man, Andrew. So Nathan, I would definitely definitely spend some time learning, simulating, then trade like small, like 50 shares at a time and start to slowly increase it. And that's where like, it just takes like that time to get in. There's no shortcut. There's no shortcut for that. And if you've already been like swing trading and stuff like that, then that does give you actually a little bit of a leg up because you already know about charts. It's different when you're like coming in fresh and you don't have any idea of something that, when you've already been trading. Like when I made the jump to intraday trading, I had been swing trading with Paul for like a couple years. So then it didn't take me any time to jump to intraday trading. It was like 2 weeks because it's like all the same shit. So that's actually a little bit different. I didn't know you were already swing trading. I've been swing trading full time, and then we had the chat room, and nobody had anything to do. So I just started changing my swing trade charts to 5-minute charts, and it was all the same shit. So, your path is shorter if you've already been trading. At least if you've been trading well. Now it's hard to swing trade in this market, so I totally hear you. Hey, hit me up anytime if you want to chat. 517-974-1480. Good, Mr. Reese, what's going on? All right, let's go back through this. So these are the earnings plays. I want you to put in the China plays, and then look, if we need to short, right? If we need to short, we can fade either a couple of these earnings plays, but also, right, we have a whole shitload. I mean, you got PayPal, SQ, all these, we can take down if we need to. Add in BTU also, right? If we need to short, like we could take down, like we still got breakdowns on PayPal. We still got breakdowns on, right, SQ. We got breakdowns on Roku. If we need to short, we can do that. Today can be a trap day, all right, guys? When you gap up this much, the opening gap may fade off to suck in the short. And then they oftentimes, like if it starts to hold at the EMAs, or if the gap fills most of the way, you'll start to come back the other way. And we call that the shake and bake. We've seen that quite a bit. We are like very oversold in the markets. Like you see most of these stocks are, you got stochastics are running at 4 or 5. When you have stochastics running at 4 or 5, oftentimes that short entry can be the shake and bake where they suck you in and you're thinking it's pretty good. You might even be up a point or two on it. And you're like, yeah, you press it and then it rips back the other way. This is like we're in the like very, very precarious way. The easy long today would have been if we had like a 1.5% gap down in the market, we would have probably had an easy long for like a couple days, maybe 2-3 days. This makes it a little bit tricky. We got to be prepared for the shake and bake. Let's put these earnings plays. Let's put these earnings plays on it and boom, 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 boom. Let's see what we can do. Guys, trade well today. I'll be in the boom, boom room. I'm trying to give this thing. Let's do what we do.